We saw this before the Trump tax law, kind of in the SUV or large truck space, and it was called a Section 179, where you could pull the whole value of that truck purchase into the year you bought it in.
And for those of people who don't know what a cost segregation study is, do you want to explain that?
Sure. So we hire a team of engineers that go and pick apart our buildings, and they put them into buckets based on what we're talking about. You've got sticks and bricks, you've got paint and countertops, and you've got everything in between. And those can actually be bucketed into 5-year, 15-year, or 27.5-year buckets for depreciation purposes. But under the Trump administration, he actually created a new rule that allows us to pull a lot of that depreciation forward into the first year. And so now this is a strategy that people use across the whole commercial real estate space, and sometimes even in single family portfolios, where those engineers can tell you how much of those depreciation dollars can be brought up into year one. We saw this before the Trump tax law, kind of in the SUV or large truck space, and it was called a Section 179, where you could pull the whole value of that truck purchase into the year you bought it in. So a lot of business owners would go buy a new vehicle and then depreciate 100% of that asset in the first year. It's very similar to that. The one problem with what we're doing is it's going to taper off after this year.
Yeah, definitely. So, so for those of you who are possibly new to the show, just a quick overview of the depreciation. Typically, you have a building that you can write off a loss at, 27.5 years. It's called a straight line depreciation. And what a cost seg study does is it basically allows you to put the stuff that's not going to last 20 years, like a light fixture, right, in a different bucket, like you said, and write it off earlier. So you can take some more up front and you deal with less on the back end. So now, since you kind of talked a little bit earlier about your ability to anticipate and whatnot, I'm gonna dive in because I'm really curious. What are you guys planning to do after this bonus depreciation kind of starts tapering off, and how are you guys pivoting?
So a lot of it is using the tax-free strategy called cash out refinance. So we have a lot of assets that we've implemented new efficiencies into. We've pulled the bad efficiencies out. We've created more value in these properties, showing in the net operating income. And now we have an appreciated asset that we could either sell or cash out refi. Well, a sale is a tax event. The cash out refi is not a tax event. So it makes sense going into this next part of the economic cycle, if it's possible to protect the asset with not pulling too much out of the asset for a cash out refi, but some of it, those dollars can be given back to the investors tax-free, and they can take those dollars and reinvest them elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's an awesome strategy, right?